Hello guys, this is the part B and it is the continuation of part A, law of banking and in that kinds of banks. Now today in kinds of companies, next bank, regional rural banks. In 1970, the government of India announced 20-point economic program. One of the significant features of the program was the liquidation of the rural indebtedness. A working group constituted under the chairmanship of Mr. M. Narasimham recommended on July 30, 1975, the establishment of RRBs, that means Regional Rural Banks. The first five RRBs were set up on October 2nd, 1975 by an ordinance. In order to provide credit at cheaper rates and to protect the interests of the weaker sections of the rural people, the RRBs came into existence in 1975. The RRBs are relatively new banking institutions which were added to the Indian banking scheme since October 1975. There are 196 RRBs with a network of branches in the state of Indian Union. These banks have been established by the Government of India in terms of the provisions of the RRBs Act 1976. The central bank, while establishing a rural bank at the request of the commercial bank, specifies the local limits within which it shall operate. The rural bank may establish its branch or agencies at any place within the notified area only. In the beginning, the share capital of every rural bank was 1 crore rupees, which are divided into 1 lakh shares of 100 rupees each. 50% of the issued share capital was provided by the central government and 15% by the concerned state government and 35% by the sponsoring bank. By RRB Amendment Act 1987, the authorized capital of such rural banks was raised to 5 crore rupees and paid up capital to 1 crore rupees. The board of directors of a rural bank was empowered to increase the issued capital from time to time after consultation with the RBI, that is Reserve Bank of India, and prior approval of the central government. The shares of the rural banks are deemed to be included in the securities enumerated under Section 20 of the Indian Trusts Act 1882 and also approved securities for the purposes of the Banking Regulations Act 1949. So, RR banks under regional rural banks generally undertakes the business of granting loans and advances to small and marginal farmers and agriculture peasants who may be individuals or groups and to cooperative societies which include marketing societies, agricultural processing societies, cooperative farming societies for agriculture purposes or agriculture operations and other relevant which are to the artisans, small entrepreneurs and persons of small means engaged in trade, commerce or industry or other productive activities within the notified area of the concerned rural bank. So, every rural bank is managed by a board of directors. A regional rural bank is guided by the directions issued by the central government regarding the matters of policy involving public interest only. And the functions of regional rural banks. They provide credit facilities to the agriculture sector with particular emphasis on small and marginal farmers and agricultural laborers. And they promote the welfare of economically and socially backward sections of the population. They help the rural artisans and small entrepreneurs in rural areas by providing credit facilities. They mobilize deposits of rural people. They provide subsidiary services like commercial banks. Along with the agriculture, they are expected to help small business units and self-employment schemes and thereby promote the all-round development of village societies. Next, coming to the point of Cooperative banks. What is the meaning of cooperation? Cooperation means voluntary association on the basis of equality and for some common purpose. The basic principle of cooperation is each for all and all for each. So, the cooperative banks are established under the Cooperative Societies Acts of the states concerned. The cooperative banks are basically rural oriented and function on the principles or ideas of cooperation. They have three tiers set up and subdivided as state cooperative banks, central or district cooperative banks at district levels, and primary credit societies at village levels. So, coming to the point, state cooperative banks. These state cooperative banks are the apex institutions in the three-tier cooperative credit structure operating at the state level. Every state has a state cooperative banks. State cooperative banks occupy a very unique position in the cooperative credit structure. Next, central or district cooperative banks at district levels. Central cooperative banks are in the middle three-tier cooperative credit structure. And central cooperative banks are of two types. They can be cooperative banking unions whose membership is open only to cooperative societies. Such cooperative banking unions exist in Haryana, Punjab, Rajasthan, Orissa and Kerala. Next, second, they can be mixed central cooperative banks whose membership is open to both individuals and cooperative societies. The central cooperative banks in the remaining states are of this type, other than the first type. The main function of the central cooperative banks is to provide loans to the primary cooperative societies. However, loans are also given to individuals and also others. Next, coming to the point, primary credit societies at village level. Primary agricultural credit society forms the basic in the three-tier cooperative credit structure. It is a village level institution which directly deals with the rural people. It serves as the last link between the ultimate borrowers, that is the rural people on the one hand, and the highest agencies, that is central cooperative bank, state cooperative bank and the RBI on the other hand. A primary agricultural credit society may be started with 10 or more persons of a village. The membership fee is nominal so that even the poorest agriculturist can become a member to the society. The members of the society have unlimited liability, which means that each member undertakes full responsibilities on the entire loss of the society in case of its failure. The management of the society is under the control of an elected body only. And the functions of commercial banks. The commercial banks are established under the Central Enactment Act, the Companies Act 1956, are a separate act passed by the Parliament. The cooperative banks have three-tier setup as stated above, while the commercial banks are organized on unitary basis only. Only the state cooperative banks have access to the RBI, whereas every commercial bank, which is a scheduled bank, is entitled to avail of the refinance facilities from the RBI. The cooperative banks function within a limited area or jurisdiction only, that is particular state or district or local area in case of a society, whereas the jurisdiction of commercial banks extends to the other districts, states and other countries also. Next, the RBI of India has full control over the commercial banks, whereas its control over cooperative banks is partial. Cooperative banks function on the principles of cooperation, while the commercial banks function on sound principles and profit motive only. This is the end of part B. Thank you for watching my video.
With